You'd be hard-pressed to find a classic car more versatile than Chevrolet's El Camino. Among all the vehicles that blurred the line between utility and style, between hard work and high polish, few ever struck that balance as beautifully as this hybrid of pickup and performance coupe. The 1971 Chevrolet El Camino you see here represents that rare harmony at its peak. A vehicle that could haul lumber one day and take first place at a car show the next. This particular example, now residing in Burnett, Texas, is a shining testament to how the right care, thoughtful restoration, and appreciation for engineering can transform a workhorse into something genuinely collectible. This El Camino has lived a fortunate life. It spent decades tucked safely in California's gentle climate before finding its way to Central Texas with its long-term owners. Always garage-kept, always treated with respect, it now stands as both a survivor and a carefully renewed piece of Chevrolet history. The seller describes it as a beautiful 1971 El Camino, and that's no overstatement. Everything about it reflects the pride of someone who didn't just own a car, but preserved a memory of a time when American automakers poured as much soul into steel as they did horsepower into engines. By 1971, Chevrolet had honed the El Camino into its third-generation form, a design that first appeared in 1968 and lasted through 1972. These years were arguably the El Camino's most elegant era, modern enough to look at home in the early 70s, yet still carrying the muscular character of the late 60s. The body was based on the Chevelle, one of the most beloved nameplates in Chevrolet's performance stable, sharing the same A-body platform that underpinned a host of GM legends. For the 1971 model year, Chevrolet introduced a few key refinements. New power beam single-unit headlights replaced the previous dual setup. The grille was revised to carry a subtler yet more assertive look, and the marker lamps were reshaped to give the body a cleaner flow. It was also the year GMC entered the game with its own version, the GMC Sprint, giving buyers even more choices in the sporty utility niche that Chevrolet had defined years earlier. The El Camino's dual nature was its magic. One Chevrolet advertisement from the time declared, "One tough car, one luxurious pickup," a slogan that perfectly summarized its appeal. It wasn't marketing exaggeration. The El Camino was indeed capable of serving as both. The 1971 model carried features designed to make it both rugged and refined. Magic mirror paint that shimmered in the California sun, double-wall bed panels for durability, a fully boxed frame that gave it impressive strength, one-piece fender liners that resisted rust and dirt, and a coil spring suspension that offered a far smoother ride than traditional leaf spring trucks. The famous body by Fisher Construction brought with it the kind of solid fit and finish people expected from Chevrolet's passenger cars. Yet the El Camino's cargo bed could still swallow a half-ton of material without complaint. It was, in essence, the embodiment of the American dream: work hard, play hard, and look good doing both. Step inside this particular El Camino, and the impression of refinement deepens. The seller describes the interior as a 9.9 out of 10. And it's not hard to believe. Every element inside the cabin has been refreshed or replaced, from the door panels to the bench seat, from the dash pad to the carpeting. It's not a sterile restoration, either. It's been done with a craftsman's eye for texture and authenticity. The addition of Dynamat insulation throughout the cabin has made a remarkable difference, transforming the driving experience into something quiet and composed. Road noise is minimal, vibration is subdued, and conversations can be held without raising your voice, a rarity for vintage vehicles of any kind, let alone one with truck DNA. A Bluetooth radio has been tastefully installed, giving this El Camino a modern touch without disturbing its period charm. The result is an environment that feels timeless rather than dated, nostalgic yet ready for everyday use. Mechanically, this 1971 El Camino is as impressive as it is visually striking. It began life with a 350 cubic inch V8, a reliable and lively small block that powered countless Chevrolets of the era. But in the years since, the car has evolved into something even more potent. Under the hood now beats the heart of a professionally built 383 cubic inch stroker V8, enhanced with vortex cylinder heads for improved breathing, an aluminum intake manifold, and a Holley 650 CFM carburetor equipped with an electric choke for consistent starts. A new HEI distributor provides precise ignition timing, while modern components throughout the engine bay ensure reliability that early 70s owners could only dream of. The seller notes that most everything is new, and that a lot of time was spent professionally restoring the engine compartment for years of reliability. It's the kind of engine bay you open not just to show off but to admire. The hoses routed cleanly, the wiring tidy, the paint under the hood as smooth as the exterior finish. Power is routed through a remanufactured turbo 350 automatic transmission fitted with a mild shift kit, ensuring firm yet civilized gear changes. Out back, a positraction rear axle with 3.30 to 1 gearing gives the car strong acceleration without sacrificing cruising comfort. The setup makes the most of the engine's torque curve, providing enough muscle to launch the El Camino with authority, yet keeping highway manners relaxed. It's the kind of drivetrain balance that makes you want to drive rather than merely admire, something many overbuilt hot rods often fail to achieve. Driving this El Camino, according to its owner, is an experience of surprising refinement. This is a well-mannered car with an extremely smooth ride and minimal, if any, road noise, the seller explains. It also has plenty of performance when you step on the throttle and effortlessly maneuver around corners. The suspension, rebuilt and tuned, does a remarkable job of masking the vehicle's utilitarian roots. Unlike many classic trucks that feel stiff or unsettled, the El Camino glides with a composure that recalls Chevrolet's passenger cars of the same era. There's a sense of unity between body and frame, a coherence that speaks to both its original engineering and the quality of its restoration. The exhaust note tells its own story. Through a Flowmaster system, the 383 breathes with an assertive yet refined growl. A perfect soundtrack that rumbles at idle, barks under acceleration, and mellows at cruise. It's a sound that doesn't just draw attention, it defines presence. Onlookers turn their heads not because it's loud, but because it sounds right. In an age when many modern cars rely on artificial exhaust notes piped through speakers, the authentic voice of this El Camino feels all the more honest. A 9-minute test drive video accompanying the car's listing captures this perfectly, showing the vehicle in motion from both inside and outside perspectives. The footage reveals what words can only suggest: the effortless way it gathers speed, the steady tracking through corners, the confident braking, all characteristics that make it clear this El Camino isn't just a showpiece. It's a driver's car. Visually, the car's condition matches its mechanical excellence. The paint gleams under sunlight with a richness that modern finishes often fail to replicate. The chrome is bright and distortion-free, the panel gaps are uniform, and the bed shows little sign of hard use. Even details like the emblems and trim pieces exhibit the kind of crispness that comes only from careful attention. It's easy to imagine this car parked at a local show, surrounded by enthusiasts who stop to admire its balance of muscle and grace. Unlike some restorations that chase over-the-top perfection, this one feels authentic, polished, yes, but not sterile. It retains the warmth of a vehicle that's been lived with and loved, not simply assembled for display. The asking price of $29,500 or best offer positions it in a sweet spot within the classic market. While collectors often gravitate toward high-performance SS or big block variants, the truth is that a well-built small block El Camino like this one delivers a driving experience that's often more enjoyable in real-world conditions. The lighter front end makes for more balanced handling, and the stroker's torque more than compensates for any perceived horsepower deficit. For someone seeking a classic that combines daily usability with show-ready presentation, it's hard to imagine a better option. Of course, numbers and specifications tell only part of the story. What makes this 1971 El Camino special is how cohesively everything comes together. The design, the build quality, the mechanical upgrades, and the driving character all reinforce one another. There's no single element that feels out of place or exaggerated. It captures that elusive quality that defines great automotive design: purposefulness. Everything on the car feels intentional, from the sweep of its fenders to the rumble of its exhaust. It's the sort of machine that makes you appreciate how much thought Chevrolet's engineers put into getting it right over half a century ago. The 1971 model year occupies an interesting place in El Camino history. It arrived at a time when muscle cars were beginning to lose their edge under the weight of insurance surcharges, emissions regulations, and the looming fuel crises of the decade ahead. Yet the El Camino managed to sidestep much of that turmoil by virtue of its practicality. While other high-performance coupes were being retired or neutered, the El Camino continued to appeal to a broader audience, people who still wanted V8 power but also needed utility. It was both a statement and a solution, and for Chevrolet, it proved that performance and practicality didn't have to be mutually exclusive. In that context, this example feels like a bridge between eras. It carries the optimism of late 60s muscle while hinting at the adaptability that would define cars of the 1970s. You can feel it in the way it drives, confident but not reckless, powerful but not ostentatious. There's a maturity to the experience, as though Chevrolet had distilled everything learned from its earlier muscle cars into something more enduring. It's this balance that makes the 1971 El Camino more than just a curiosity of automotive design. It's a philosophy on wheels. Every car tells a story, and this one tells several. There's the story of its California upbringing, years spent in mild weather, protected from the rust and neglect that claimed so many of its siblings. There's the story of its careful restoration, where modern touches like Dynamat insulation and Bluetooth connectivity were added not to modernize it, but to make it more enjoyable. And there's the story of its current chapter in Texas, where it's ready to be driven, shown, and appreciated by someone who values both craftsmanship and character. The seller's words, well-mannered, smooth, plenty of performance, read not as sales talk but as genuine affection for a machine that's earned its place as more than just metal and mechanics. If there's a single phrase that captures the essence of this 1971 Chevrolet El Camino, it might be this: understated excellence. It doesn't shout for attention, but it commands it. It doesn't try to be the fastest, the rarest, or the most powerful, yet it succeeds in being one of the most satisfying. That's the beauty of the El Camino concept when executed right. It defies categorization. It's not entirely a truck, not entirely a car, but fully itself. And in that space between definitions lies its charm. For enthusiasts who understand that classic motoring is as much about experience as it is about speed, this El Camino offers the best of both worlds. It's a car you can drive without anxiety, a machine that invites you to enjoy the road rather than fear for its fragility. Whether cruising through small-town streets, attending a weekend car meet, or simply idling in the driveway on a Sunday morning, it carries with it the quiet confidence of something built with intention and cared for with love. 54 years after it first rolled off the assembly line, the 1971 Chevrolet El Camino continues to represent a uniquely American idea that performance and practicality can coexist, that style can be strong, and that a vehicle can be more than the sum of its parts. This example, with its careful restoration, balanced upgrades, and evident pride of ownership, stands as proof that the El Camino's legacy isn't just about nostalgia, it's about endurance. It reminds us that greatness often lies not in excess, but in balance. And few cars embody that lesson more completely than this one. For $29,500, someone will soon become the steward of not just a vehicle, but a philosophy on wheels, a machine that blurs lines, transcends categories, and continues to turn heads more than half a century after it first did so. In a world obsessed with specialization, the 1971 El Camino remains delightfully unspecialized. It is everything at once: car, truck, cruiser, performer. A timeless reminder that versatility, when executed with style, never goes out of fashion.